Hi everyone, so this is the update for C64 Dev Machine. I've spent a bit of time making sure all the nodes behave. There probably might still be some problems here and there, no doubt. Every time I go to do a video I find something wrong, so I'm going to keep this really low key and not do anything too crazy. I just want to show you what's new. So middle mouse button or Alt now pans. You can also use the arrow keys and mouse wheel zoom in and out, or you can use page up and page down to zoom in and out. If you want to stay organized, use B to make an org block, and you can name that, right? And if you ever get lost, press spacebar and it will jump to that. You can make multiple copies of these. You can move these around, but they don't currently move the nodes within them. That's just part of the design of them. But you can rescale them and move them quite easily anyway. You can only really move the variables org block. You can't use the move the system init one. If you want to make new blocks, you just press O, or you can add org blocks variables. Yeah, like so. You can also add variable org blocks as well if you wanted. Double right click destroys these. Currently doesn't work on the variables node. So I just want to make that work when it's empty. I don't want to make it work when there's variables there. But anyway, that's that. What else is new is basically if you start to load in nodes. Let's just load a little stress test file that I created. This one just loads a whole bunch of nodes here. And it's just so I can show you a feature. So if you hold down Control and drag a box, you can actually indent now. And you can indent multiple times. You can also shift and tab to go back the way. So it's basically tab. You can also tab directly on the node or shift tab directly on the node to take it back. You press C, you can add a comment, and if you press F3, you can actually hide the comment. So it helps just to make little gaps and things. So that's another visual improvement there. Obviously you can still drag about your org blocks and things like that. If you want to set an org block to a certain destination, you can also do that as well. So you can start coding from a different address. And if you wanted to overwrite the whole header, you can obviously do that as well. You just basically set up an org block at 0801 or whatever and make your basic header. There's new assets. There's now byte data asset, which you can basically type in like this. You can do hexadecimal, or you can actually do a decimal value, and the whole thing, just save it, come back. It will actually inject this into memory at C100. So if I was to press F5, even though I'll get a crash, it will still compile all this. If we look at C100, and by going into the monitor here, so we'll do C100, you actually see that we've got 0, 1, 2, and 32. In fact, the better way to look at this is to do M C100 to C110 or something. Right, you can see 0, 1, 2, 32. And if we look at this, we've got 0, 1, 2, 0, 5, 0. So it's actually converted this 50 to 32. So it's turned it into a hex code. So even though we can type in decimal, it converts that for us into hexadecimal, which is really handy. So we've got the byte data. We've now got text data if you want to do a string, long strings for scrollers, map data, character sets, SID sound effects, which is literally just SIDs, but it's just a way to categorize it. I might look into how these are done differently, but otherwise you can just choose your music track. You actually choose your music track through the scroller as well by _TRK 00 for track 0, 01 for track 1, and that's handled through the scroller. This will all be in documentation, which is currently in progress. Sprite sets, obviously you can add a sprite set and you can edit in Spread 64 and it will put it up. You can draw something and you can just leave. It will just automatically save it now. It used to be that I would do Alt S, but now I just automatically save it. So you can go back and boot it up again each time. and you can put in all your sprites to your heart's content in here and do whatever you want. And yeah, just put in your sprites, just exit, and it will load in everything up to it. So just make sure you bear in mind you're going to have a lot of blanks if you put your sprite way down there. If you want to condense that out, just go back into Spread 64, and you can do Control C, Control V, and you can literally clear that sprite there. And then when you exit, it's only going to show you the ones that actually have data, but you have to sort of compact them yourself. So that's that. That's pretty much everything. You can see there's also a grid. I tried to make sure that everything followed the grid. I'm not sure how perfect it actually is. It looks sort of fine to me. I think the tabbing might be wrong. I think I know what's happened is that the tabbing back is actually only going to go back not so much. I'll look into that. I can see it's not going as far as it should. So that's just a number. It was 30 and I changed it to 40, but I've missed something somewhere. That's everything right now. Still fixing some things here and there. A few bugs with some stuff that used to work and doesn't anymore. So I'm just wrapping up the SID working with the scroller, with sprites, and animation. I'm working on the animation node. Although it's fairly easy to do, I just like to give you these macros so you can manage that better. The UI for macros will change. It will become a bit of a more compacted sort of view later as well. As well as I might change the whole visual appearance of everything once it's done. Once documentation's pretty much done as well. But that's it for C64 Dev Machine. Thanks for watching. Bye.